Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Onion Rings, and I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat, this is going to be a very ghetto video, and I apologize for that, but I had originally had the vendor reset video recorded, and for some reason, Vegas 14 did not want to take any of my clips. I used my Elgato HD60 to record both the video and the commentary of me going around to each vendor and recording the items to show to you guys. And for some reason, when I put it into the editing program, it just didn't want to work. It kept building the peaks endlessly, and whenever I clicked something, it froze the whole program up, so it wouldn't work. So I apologize for that. The next vendor reset video, I'm going to do a much better job and make sure it works this time. But for now, I just wanted to record my notepad. This is what I wrote down when I went to each vendor. I wrote it down so I could read off of this when I was recording the commentary. So you guys can just pause the video and read it if you want to. If there's anything you think you might want on here, grab it. But I'm going to read it though. The reason I decided to start doing these vendor reset videos is because there's only a few people that do them. And a lot of them don't cover some of the things that you'd think would be decent. I remember last week I watched Lethal VD's vendor reset video, and when I went around to the safe houses to get the stuff he mentioned, I noticed there was still other things on there he didn't mention that were still pretty good. So I myself took it upon myself to make my own video, and I covered pretty much anything that I thought might be anywhere near decent. So without further ado, let's get started. At the blueprints vendor in the base of operations, there's an SASG 12 blueprint, an angled grip blueprint, and an electronics mod blueprint. Last week had the stamina and firearms mods. This one's the electronics, so grab that and you'll be able to craft all three. Angled grips are obviously good for stability if you want stability, and the SASG 12 blueprint if you want to make your own SASG 12. Maybe you're doing a shotgun build. The SASG is like the best shotgun in 1.8. At the special equipment vendor in the base of operations, there's a Liberator with accurate, competent, and adept. You could keep it just that way, or you could roll adept to like ferocious or something like that. Pretty good Liberator. The pecan at that vendor is deadly and capable. You could roll capable to like brutal. Be a pretty good pecan. There's a stamina mod. It's not very good, but if you don't have anything better, it's 259 with 3,335 skill power. At the advanced weaponry vendor in the base of operations upstairs, there's a Lavoa with accurate, deadly, and focused. You could roll focus to maybe ferocious for PvE, or maybe fierce or something like that for PvP, something like that. Roll whatever you want, but that's a pretty good roll. And I think it's like a 279 as well, so it's pretty high up there. There's an extended mag at that vendor, 112.5% extent, or on the extended mag size, 4 critical damage, 5.4 rate of fire. There's also an Omega rifle suppressor at that same vendor with headshot damage, accuracy, and critical hit chance. At the Dark Zone vendor in the base of operations, there's a Vigorous chest piece if you're looking for one. I know some people run Vigorous chest piece with their Reclaimer builds and other types of builds so they can get overheals. This one's pretty good with 274. Gear score. Electronics is almost maxed at 1269. Comes with health on kill, all resilience, and ammo capacity, so you could roll the all resilience to something else to make it a little bit better, and that's pretty good. Vigorous chest piece. At the crypt, the weapon vendor has a loud vent break with critical hit damage, accuracy, and critical hit chance. Pretty decent for SMGs, I guess. You know, get some extra critical hit damage. At the firewall, the gear vendor has a purple ballistic shield damage resilience mod if you want some extra damage resilience mods for your defense build. No, they're not gold, but if you don't have any other ones, the purple will work. At the grindhouse, there's a weapons vendor with another extended mag. This one's actually better than the previously mentioned one, and it well, yeah, I mean, it's just better. I think the only difference, no, it's pretty much all around better. So if you want an even better extended mag than previously mentioned, grab this one. I don't know why I didn't go back and delete this one after I realized this one was better. I'm not going to do that next episode. I'm going to make sure there's no duplicates or anything in here. Now, this one was a great one for me. This one fucking made me really excited. At Southpaw, there's a support station range mod of 7.5% for Reclaimer builds, because in my opinion, if you're going to run Reclaimer, you want to stack range as much as you can. If you've got the 6-piece, it already is going to have a lot of duration. It'll have some extra range too, yeah, but it already have a lot of duration, and the healing speed bonus on the 6-piece is 100%, so you don't need extra healing speed. You don't need extra duration because it already lasts plenty, and as long as you have enough skill haste, the cooldown won't be too long either. Range, in my opinion, is the best because you want to give your teammates plenty of room to maneuver and give you plenty of room to fight in. So, in my opinion, support station range mods for reclaimers is the best, and you can pick them up there. Cost regular credits, so like credits are so easy to come by. Make sure you grab these if you want to do reclaimers build. At the ward, there's turret damage mods for Firecrest, so if you want some turret damage mods, 3.5%. I will, however, mention before you go off and go buying those, if you want them, there are 4% turret damage mods at East 53rd Street checkpoint, but keep in mind that is Dark Zone, so you will need to be rank 30 and have some Dark Zone credits to buy them. But if you Dark Zone a lot and that's not a problem, definitely pick up the 4% ones because 4% is better than 3.5%. At the meat locker, there's a small red grip with critical hit damage, reload, and accuracy. Not the best, but it's decent. At the cavern, there's first aid self-heal mods of 6%. I roll these on my Lone Star build to give myself a little extra healing because it does not have a lot of self-sustainability. I can do a ton of damage very quickly, just dump my magazines, but again, there's no self-sustainability because you have, you know, I mean, if you spec'd into health on kill, you'd have some sustainability that way, but I didn't, and, you know, I die quick, so I put these in my gear to make my first aid heal do more, because you can have up to 4 of them, so that's an extra 24% on the healing of your first aid, to yourself, of course, which is pretty good. Camp Hudson, there's a C79 small scope with critical hit damage, stability, and headshot damage. Pretty damn good for SMGs. In my opinion, the stability could be replaced with an optimal range one if you have one of those. But again, like I said, the reason I pointed out some of these gear pieces is for people who don't even have, you know, like standard mods. Maybe you're new to the game or just not really good at gearing up or something, or just had bad luck. Then, you know, some of these vendors have some decent things, and that is a pretty good scope for, you know, SMGs, because critical hit damage is what you want to stack, and then you can also put that, you know, that grip on there to give yourself like a crazy amount of critical hit damage, and maybe even put that loud vent break we mentioned up here on there, and there you go, you've got a bunch of critical hit damage on your SMG. It's going to be better. At the Camp Clinton blueprint vendor, there's a first wave 45 P45 blueprint if you want to make a pistol, a classic M60 blueprint, an electronics mask blueprint, and stamina vest blueprint. These are all 256s, but when you roll them, they'll roll higher than that. There's a 552 hollow sight large. I would highly recommend you buy this. This comes with crit chances, the main stat, so it's perfect for like assault rifles and LMGs because you want to give them some extra crit. I rolled them on my Lone Star, and it helps give my SMGs some extra kick, and it's amazing. So pick up that blueprint and, you know, roll some. And there's also a Pro Red Dot sight, which is a small one. And I don't remember what the main stat on the Pro Red Dot sight is. I forgot, but you can obviously look. At the special equipment vendor in Camp Clinton, there's another Liberator with accurate, determined, and competent. Maybe roll with determined to something else. I mentioned this G36, but I'm actually going to retract it because it's not a great G36. I tried it. I bought one and tried it. It's not very good. You'd have to keep focused because you don't want prepared. Prepared is an insane amount of range that you need to be to get that damage buff, and you're not going to hit many shots at that distance with a G36. It's a pretty accurate gun, but it's not that accurate unless you're, of course, on PC. But on console, you're probably not going to hit it. So I'm just going to retract that. The SASG 23K is pretty fucking god rolled in my opinion. Accurate, brutal, and deadly. There's a military RPK that's pretty good rolled, accurate and brutal, and you could roll self-preserve to like ferocious. And there's another extended mag. This one has reload instead of critical hit damage like the other ones we mentioned, and the magazine size itself is higher. However, this is a Phoenix credits guy in Camp Clinton, so unless you have Phoenix credits, you're not going to be able to get that. At the West 34th Street checkpoint, there's a lightweight M4. Everybody's going crazy over lightweight M4s right now for PvP, so I figured I'd mention it. It's not the greatest ever. Fierce is on the top, so it's going to require electronics to use. Sustained is not all that great, and competent is good. So you could either roll Fierce or Sustained to something else, up to you. Like I said here on the notepad, not the best, but it's doable. If you really want a lightweight M4, then you could grab one grab this one if you can't find one. And to be honest with you guys, I haven't found any to drop, but since I PvE, I don't really care. I just use whatever. I use stuff like the Lavoas. I mean, this one up here was pretty good. At the West 31st Street checkpoint, there's a firearms mod of 256 with 2.5 EDR. Also want to mention, I don't remember which safe house it was. I forgot to write this down, but in one of the safe houses, I think it's on the right side of the map, there is a firearms mod that's 256 with 1% critical hit chance on it. And I don't know off the top of my head which one it was. I'm pretty sure it was on the right side, but it is in the light zones. It's not in the dark zone. So if you want to venture around to all the light zone checkpoints or safe houses and look for it, you could do that. Now 256 isn't the highest roll ever, seeing as how they can max out at 267, but that's not bad either. And then this one obviously has EDR if you want to be a little bit tankier, or like I said, there's the crit chance ones, which are really good because critical hit chance is kind of rare, and if you can stack an extra 4 or 5% just from your mods alone, that's pretty good. At the East 31st Street checkpoint, there's Seeker Mine damage mods of 3.5%. At the East 34th Street checkpoint, there's a sawed off with Determined for PvP. If you melee somebody with it, Determined will proc and you'll get your cooldown reduction. So if you don't have a predatory sawed off and you love the PvP, you could pick up this one instead. Get Determined, get your cooldowns back. Again, it's not as good as like having a predatory one, but it is what it is. And then there's also a VX1 scope with headshot damage, critical damage, and stability, which is a pretty decent large optic in my opinion, good for snipers or something like that. And then as we mentioned before, the 4% turret damage mod if you don't want the 3.5% one, if you can afford them. So that's going to cut it for this video, guys. Again, I know it was kind of ghetto and slapped together. I wasn't even going to make the video in the first place after, because the vendor reset happened Friday, and I'm pretty sure other people already have their videos out by now. I said to myself that I wasn't going to make the video since my editing program had a problem and it didn't want to work. I was like, fuck it, I'm not even gonna make the video. But then I decided that there's some pretty decent things around the map this reset, and I wanted to mention them to people who may be needing them, especially those support station range mods. Those are like a god find for me, and maybe for you as well if you're running Claimer. And then obviously the turret damage mods too. So I pointed it out. Hopefully this video helps you guys out, and I'm going to try my very best to work harder on next week's for you guys, make it fancier, actually give you some footage and proper commentary, and hopefully my editing program will work. If it doesn't, I'm going to fucking flip a desk. Not really, because I can't afford to get a new desk, but yeah, I'm not going to be happy. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the video. Peace out, and God bless.